Hello, hi, welcome back to Even More News, Monday news show. I'm Katy, Stoll, that is.
Thank you so much. Welcome back to it all. We got news, we got Mondays, we got information, we have introductions. I'm Cody. We also have Jonathan, who is also here.
Hi.
Woo! Hi.
Hi.
Jonathan, what happened?
The news did happen. We got a start in Colorado where a man on Sunday had a makeshift flamethrower and threw Molotov cocktails at a Release the Hostages event in Boulder, Colorado. 8 people were injured. At least 8 people were injured between the ages of 52 and 88, including a Holocaust survivor. That man has been detained and charged with hate crimes and felony charges. And as we have been reminded a lot today already, he was on a 2-year work visa that expired a few months ago in March. So there's that.
Yeah.
There is going to be more information coming through. It's hard to accurately talk about stories as they are developing, even though the rest of the internet and the world wants to. This is horrific, chilling. But we don't fully know what happened. We don't fully know his intentions. It certainly does appear to be anti-Semitic. There's reports that, this is also combined with the mental health crisis. The online conversations are horrific. The misinformation, the stuff being shared on all sides is really, really galling. People trying to frame this, illegal immigrant or Muslim terrorism, or on the other side of the aisle, people saying this is actually a false flag on behalf of Israel and they did it themselves. I mean, it is so disgusting to try to parse through anything now, let alone this event.
It immediately becomes, we talked about this a few weeks ago, it immediately becomes this attempt to generalize about an entire group of people based on one person's disturbed actions. A few weeks ago, it was generalizing about the movement for Palestine, and now it's that. Plus, we can tie this into border stuff and immigration, and we can say this was an illegal alien that Biden shouldn't have let in, even though there's really what evidence might you have had in March 2023 that this kind of thing was going to happen. The Trump administration obviously wants to go through every asylum seeker's social media, everyone's social media who's coming and applying for a work visa. As we said a few weeks ago, this helps no one and only harms people. It harms, obviously, it's an act of violence, a hate crime, an anti-Semitic hate crime, and will do nothing for the Free Palestine movement. Only makes things worse for everybody.
I feel like both sides are complicit. The media ecosystem is complicit in the ratcheting up, the misrepresentation of things, and just the general hatred.
The defending of the genocide.
It is maybe briefly worth noting. I mean, who knows if this guy could have been spotted or identified or caught beforehand. Wildly speculative. Can't do that. The Trump administration has taken resources and funds away from terrorism investigations, and specifically away from white supremacist terrorism investigations, but has basically diverted all of it towards this internal immigration push. There are fewer people, and look, probably for a good reason, because there was too much focus on terrorism in the 2000s, 2010s, right? So we could probably have stood to lower the funding on that. But incidents like these, as horrific as they are not the priority for this administration. In fact, the only people who benefit from something like this are the administration.
I mean, it gives them more excuses and more power and more, for specifically the project that they're working on now.
My heart sank for many reasons reading about this, continues to. But one of my first thoughts was this just really makes it even harder when we're talking about delineating between peaceful protests that already are being floated as terrorist organization, terrorist protests on behalf of Hamas. So what this does is sort of muddy the waters. I mean, obviously this is incredibly different than a protest, but it adds fuel to the idea that people that are against the genocide are,
they've been doing this forever. The term pro-Palestinian to them means pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist.
Well, forever over the last couple years.
The one interesting thing is, I feel like the Trump administration would like to use incidents like this as Reichstag fire moments, but it doesn't seem like, they're throwing everything at the wall to scatter everyone's brain kind of works against them in that respect, because this will be gone in a couple days. Like, people don't care that much. Even people who are like, I'm on Republican side on this, pro-Israel, like, give them all the weapons, blow it up, whatever. This is going to go away in a few days because we got everything else.
Yeah, by design, right? Like, they're, like you're saying, like, their goal is to have all these things happen, and then you forget about them, and then 2 days later another thing happens, and you just keep it going. But if the thing that's happening is something they want you to focus on, it's not going to happen anyway because of
the fascist information machine scrambles their own brains as well.
Yeah, it kind of works against them in some ways, at least.
Speaking of scrambled brains, shall we talk about Elon? Elon Musk has, I guess, officially left his special government employee position because the 130 days were up.
Yes.
It's unclear exactly how much his fingers are out of it. But listen, I think we can all feel good that we made him feel bad enough that he doesn't want to be an official part of this effort anymore.
At the very least, we don't have to look at him as much because he is not blatantly trying to get everybody's attention constantly. At least, I don't know, at least in the past few weeks, he's been definitely tweeting less and doing fewer chainsaw type stunts to get people's attention to talk about him. But obviously there's other stuff.
I wouldn't bank on that lasting, but fair enough.
I'm not saying it's going to last. I'm just saying.
I think there's a lot of pressure on Elon Musk right now, which we'll get into even outside of his public life, just behind the scenes. I think there's been a lot of drama that has been taking his attention.
Right. On top of none of us liking him, none of the people he worked with in the Trump administration liked him. We all know that. They called him, or someone called him, one of the most irritating people I've ever worked with.
Yep.
And then on Friday, the New York Times put out an article about how close allies, this is probably just the Trump administration leaking stuff because they don't like him.
Oh, yeah. It's like, they're like, we're done. Let's fucking torch this guy.
Right. So apparently they say Musk was on lots of drugs beyond occasional use, taking so much ketamine that it was impacting his bladder.
Now we know why his dick's broken.
He was taking ecstasy and mushrooms and Adderall, maybe all at the same time.
Various combos,
this is a little sensational and silly, but also he probably shouldn't have been in charge of dismantling the federal government.
I don't know. I sensational, silly. Sure it is. It's also the thing that we've all been witnessing with our own eyes. The erratic behavior of someone spiraling for years now, but especially over the past year, and all the different reports about his fucking baby mamas. I mean, we've all been disturbed about his mission, his not secret mission to populate the earth, to save our dwindling population. The idea that he thinks his sperm is better than anyone else's and that women must desperately want it. The lies that he said to his various partners who've let themselves be tricked by him, but still,
but yeah, he's abusive and manipulative.
It's abusive to his children. His abuse to X on the world stage as Grimes is begging for him to stop, to adhere to the terms of their divorce, their custody settlements. Like
don't
this
parade
has not
your
been
son.
secret. It's just been compiled into one, and it is alarming. And point taken, sure, I'm sure that people in the administration want him out and can't wait, and they're off the record commenting, but this doesn't make your administration look good. how that this drug-addled fucking loser, sorry, I don't know, good description of him, is taking a chainsaw to our government, not to just always be the person saying if the shoe was on the other foot, but there's no way. They're still going to talk about Biden with good reason for his cognitive issues. Well, you've got Elon Musk and you're not going to criticize him being in charge of massive decisions for our government.
Congratulations to them for getting their little article about how he sucks out. But so do you guys.
One would hope that he would like to retaliate, that he would call and say, this guy's weird, this person's not funny, I'm much funnier than Stephen Miller, which may be true about Elon Musk.
Something that's very galling to me is there's a lot of rules for thee, but not for me kind of vibes. Elon Musk can, I guess, just do whatever. He's had advance warning, according to this article, of drug tests, for example, at SpaceX, these different, so that he knows how to cheat the system. Nobody seems to have ever even asked him to do a drug test from the federal government.
Yeah, it's all very absurd. Again, it was very, very obvious the entire time, and not for nothing, but can you imagine if Elon Musk was black and was doing all these drugs in the White House and had all these like extramarital affairs and children? Can you imagine what his fans would say?
I guess that's my point here, that you're like, oh, you would care very much if this was somebody else.
Also, it just also seems like very much like so much of this is driven by maybe he tried to do ketamine for like therapy reasons, because there are legitimate reasons to like take ketamine for that. But also he's claimed proudly that he's never been to therapy. He wants it on his tombstone. It's something he says 4 times a year, like, put it on my tombstone, never been to therapy. So probably not. It seems much like he's just sort of like, look at my little thing of pills. I'm always on the drugs. I'm such
because it's so cool.
Like, it's like a cool thing for him to do in his mind. Not that, again, like, we're not like against doing drugs, but maybe don't excessively do them all the time in these weird cocktails while you're in charge of the government and like stealing our data and giving it to your PayPal mafia buddies at Palantir.
If he wasn't such a profoundly terrible person, you'd have more empathy for what I'm about to say, but it's actually quite sad. Presumably, at least the given reason, ketamine treatment for depression, for mental health issues, I have a lot of compassion for that. All of us do. That's not a justification for your bad behavior, though. And also, this is giving him license to be abusing drugs. He's not using the prescribed drugs in the way that they're supposed to be at all. He's lying about it.
Yeah, I don't much care about Elon Musk or anyone abusing drugs. Yeah. He's a liar and a hypocrite, and his mental acuity has been, very important by swaying the direction of our government over the last few months. So the same way we would be very concerned about the mental acuity of Joe Biden during his presidency, I think the same should be said about Donald Trump, who, as we know, is blathering nonsense all the time, and Elon Musk, who does the same thing.
Blathers nonsense all the time and purposefully lies all the time.
Should we listen to this blathering nonsense to CBS?
This is kind of his first like interview after like, I've left the White House. I'm done with politics and everyone likes me again. Sort of media tour, I guess, because we'll get into more details. It seems very contentious, him leaving.
But the interview didn't get off to a smooth start.
I noticed that all of your businesses involve a lot of components, a lot of parts. Do the tariffs and the trade wars affect any of this?
Tariffs always affect things a little bit.
Wondering what your thought is on the ban on foreign students, the proposal. You were one of those kids, right?
Yeah, I think we want to stick to, the subject of the day, which is like spaceships, as opposed to, presidential policy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was told anything's good, but...
No.
Oh, well, no.
Oh, man.
You can't do that. You can't.
I'm sorry, if you're the richest person in the world, if you've had this much influence, if you're Elon Musk, you can't expect a puff piece on the network that's being sued, or there's a huge lawsuit from the administration trying to get them to cower because of no. They're going to ask you questions. This is not the White House press where Tim Pool is going to say like, "Why are you so great, sir?"
Right.
You put yourself into this arena. He has to deal with that. Like, he chose this.
He proudly and vocally won the election for Donald Trump. He talks about it all the time, how like he did it. It's because of all the money he gave him. Inserted himself for months and months and months and months, wouldn't shut the fuck up about the Great Replacement or the Dems are taking all these immigrants so that they vote for them, and we got it like all his feed every day, just 60 lies from Nazis, and everyone started hating him and not buying his cars, and so he wanted to leave because everybody hates him. And so they left. He left, and now he's like, and that was that. No. You are not allowed to do that. He clearly thought he was. There's a clip a little bit later where he can't fucking help himself, and he starts talking about politics.
The opinion of the government is that like the government is just like the DMV that got big. Okay, so like when you say like let's have the government do something, you should think, do you want the DMV to do it?
And then Musk started talking about the Trump administration. I hadn't even asked him about Trump.
And, it's not like I agree with everything the administration does. So it's like I agree with much of what the administration does, but we have differences of opinion. There's things that I don't entirely agree with. But it's difficult for me to bring that up in an interview because then it creates a bone of contention. So then I'm a little stuck in a bind where I'm like, well, I don't want to, speak out against the administration, but I don't want to. I also don't want to take responsibility for everything the administration is doing.
Oh, you're in a bind.
I don't want to take responsibility for what I created.
How did you get in that bind?
Yeah.
Describe the bind. Describe the bind and how you got in the bind. How did you bound yourself? What bounded you? That's very funny.
A spell, Cody.
He got bound by a spell. Oh, he's spellbound. Oh, that's why he's so enchanting. It's so funny. The idea that the government is like the DMV that got big is so silly and childish, and like a baby's idea of the government.
DMV good. Like, If you just show up and have to wait in line, it sucks. But if you make an appointment and then show up for your appointment, like I've been in and out in 20 minutes, and then I get the thing I use to do anything.
It's effective and efficient. The idea, it's just one of those things like, this is boomer shit from 30 years ago. Like, remember when we used to complain about the DMV? Well, that's a touchstone. I saw Jesse Waters the other day talking about welfare and like SNAP payments and like food stamps, all this sort of stuff. He's really, really straightforward and compassionate about it. It's really good. But surprising. At one point, he like kind of like veered off in a weird, like un-Jesse Waters type of way. What do you say? Oh, he said, and like using their like all this like government assistance to buy their flat screen TVs. Flat screen TVs, buddy. That's from 20 years ago.
When was the last time? Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's just these touchstones.
Maybe to buy our projector screens. I don't know.
They've absorbed all of these sort of like talking points over the years from the news and like about welfare queens and all that stuff. And the DMV is so inefficient. And it's just these touchstones that they have absorbed that aren't like based in reality. Maybe they were at one point, but they're not anymore. And they're sticking with it because they don't know what they're talking about. The idea, aside from the fact that the DMV is fine, the idea that like, well, the government is just like the DMV, but like but bigger. He doesn't. He's just so bad at analogies and talking about anything.
Well, it's the same argument as like, do you want people who run the post office to run everything? Do you want the thing that we've perpetually underfunded and doesn't work well as it would if you funded it to run everything? Like, you are the one who made it work bad if it works bad.
You made it worse.
The DMV is just a place. It's an office you pay people to go through, and they file paperwork and stuff. And then they
like
administer driving tests.
You make an appointment, and you keep the appointment, you go in, and you give them the ticket, and they hand you the thing.
And, like, it sucks the same way anything sucks that you, like, don't want to do on a Thursday because you got other shit to do. You either have work to do or there's stuff you'd rather do, like go to the movies or drink or whatever, but you got to go to the DMV.
Very embarrassing for him. It's very funny to see him bring up Trump randomly, even though he wasn't brought up, and like this just sort of claim like I'm just sort of in this bind. Next time anyone interviews him, you gotta wait for him to finish or like stop him and be like, but like, what's an example? I agree with a lot of stuff that they do. What's an example? I don't agree with some stuff. What's an example?
Also, what bind are you in? Didn't you just spend an astronomical amount of money getting this man elected? Don't you not care? Don't you care about free speech? You care about speaking up? You cared so much that you spent all this money, and yet you don't feel like you get to say what policies you don't like?
Bro, you wore that cheese hat and you lost in Wisconsin. You lost so bad, man.
Does he still have the hat?
I hope so. I hope he cries into it.
Could auction it off for
Maybe
money.
Maybe eats it. That article did mention binge eating and playing video games a lot.
Eating the cheese hat.
It also mentioned weight loss drugs in passing. So I have to assume that Elon is who Trump was talking about, right?
He's
there's no question, right?
Trump was making fun of Elon on, during the speech when he was talking about Ozempic or whatever. He likes the fact that the richest man in the world works or worked for him.
Yep.
That's it. He doesn't like him. He
no.
doesn't like anyone.
No, that's true. But he's so unpleasant. Of course, he doesn't like him. It's funny, like, they obviously use this 130-day thing as like, all right, you kind of go. If that wasn't a limit put on them and he was like, there's a world where they like Elon and they want him to stick around, so they don't make him leave after 130 days. I'm saying there's a world where like Elon's a different human.
If they
I'm saying there's a world where Elon's a different type of person and they like him. Or they like, oh, we're going to fudge this and you can stick around. They're using this because they want to get rid of him. Somehow Vivek Ramaswamy is like more annoying than the most annoying man in the world.
He was annoying to the most annoying.
He was annoying to the most annoying man in the world. Just an
he
amazing
doesn't have
feat.
the money that the most annoying man.
Exactly.
In the world has.
He's got a lot of money.
But clearly, he
not
does.
Elon Musk dollars.
No, not Elon Musk money.
No. But clearly, there's a lot of contention there and a lot of conflict. We don't need to speculate about the black eye that he claims he told his son to give him. Just the idea that like, oh, I told my son, like. That's weird if you did it. It's weird if that's a lie.
Both are weird.
Yes, it's weird if it's a lie. It's interesting that those of us on the team with kids are like, yeah, the kid probably gave him the black eye, and you guys.
Yeah, but your kids are younger than that kid.
Yeah, which means X can hit harder, probably.
Yeah,
See,
but
I'm
also less likely to just be wildly flailing around and accidentally hit you in the eye.
He told him, he says, like, I want you to punch me as hard as you can. You know the movie, the thing I'm referring to?
I am X. Do you love Fight Club?
Yeah.
So like,
he's just like, you know what we have to do next is watch A Clockwork Orange. You'll think this is totally cool.
I'm such a Tyler Durden right now. Have you seen my pills, X?
Okay, so speaking of illnesses and America not being healthy, we gotta talk quickly about the MAha report, which is called the MAha report, Make Our Children Healthy Again.
Wait,
which
that's
is not
that's maca. That's matcha.
I understand, but the cover of this, I have it up. It says the MAha report, and then underneath it says Make Our Children Healthy Again. So mocha. This is a 73-page report. It's, it's got we're all chronically unhealthy because of the ultra-processed foods, blah, 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 blah. The citations, or many of the citations, are non-existent. They have authors attached to them, and the authors are real people, but they didn't write those studies. Many of these studies don't seem to exist.
Madness.
Clearly a ChatGPT.
So citations still needed?
Well, they say this is a formatting error. So that's formatting, so you had indenting set at 1.5 inches, and that made up a study? That made up morons.
A study. That's not how this works. But you could say whatever you want and let the news cycle move on and never have to address it again.
No, that's the facts. Those are the facts. That's the story. There are authors of studies listed here who are real people who have gone on the news saying, that's not a real study. It doesn't exist. I didn't do that. And if it did, it's misrepresenting my research.
Yeah, this is so fucked up and stupid. This is not surprising, obviously. We've talked about this a little bit, and it's been this sort of like looming cloud of like, what are they going to do? What are they going to like convince people of? What are they going to try to make people do or not, like not let them do? Like we knew like, oh, we're going to actually like, we're going to solve autism, whatever that means, which is also like we've talked about this sort of scum, like dangerous sort of rhetoric around all of that. But like knowing like, okay, so they're gonna make up a bunch of shit. They know by this date we're gonna figure out what the problem is or what the cause is, and that's not how you do science. You don't like, you're not Babe Ruth out there. You're not like, yeah, we're gonna solve it by October. That's not how it works. They have a planned conclusion that they would like to arrive at, and they are going to do whatever they can to arrive at that conclusion, even if it means false citations or citing people that have no idea what they're talking about. It's so messed up that is still going to happen, even if they like fudge like the due date or whatever. And here we are with an example of them using ChatGPT or Grok to make up something with their conclusion in mind. They're going to keep doing it. How embarrassing, stupid, fucked up, and dangerous this is.
I mean, they didn't even consult leading experts within the various fields, you know, for vaccinations. They don't care. Or ADHD.
Why would they? They don't care.
They can fire them.
Yeah.
Don't consult people. Rely on, ChatGPT. It's so blatant. It's so... And the ramifications are so far-reaching. It's hard to speak to it because it remains to be seen what the fallout from all of this will be. You know, he's already changed the recommendation for COVID vaccines for healthy children. However, the CDC is pushing back against that, which is great. Saying that's great. You know, that's something. But, you know, this impacts, you know, vaccine research, mRNA research, which is our biggest hope, or a big hope in terms of medical breakthroughs for cancer, for all sorts of diseases. And it's terrifying that this man, these ghoulish people are in charge right now of making these decisions, commissioning this report.
It's alarming. It's very alarming. And every thing they say around like what they want to do and what they're concerned about is alarming. Like all the autism stuff is very alarming, how they're talking about it and how clearly they're going to lie about it. And all the trickle down effects, I guess, of like, well, you start here and you're like, here's your goal. And then like, well, people are going to stop doing this. They're going to stop believing in this. They're going to stop believing in this. Like this sort a slow deterioration.
I want to point out another thing about this report. This is not this is not the kind of thing that would be published in a medical journal, even if the citations aren't made up. If you look through it, they clearly asked ChatGPT for an overall report about American health over the last 40 to 50 years in all different categories and aspects. So one page, it'll just say, allergies are widespread and autoimmune disorders are rising. And then 4 bullet points, underneath that. And then the previous page, American youth face a mental health crisis. And then the previous page, childhood cancer incidence has risen. Like, it's not one specific thing. They say, we're going to drill down into this and do an aggregate of studies. It's not that at all. It is like the most basic level, bare bones, whatever ChatGPT spit out. I'm sure many of these numbers are right because sometimes it just pulls the sentence from the thing. So childhood cancer incidence has risen over 40% since 1975. That very well may be true. It very well may not. They didn't look. They didn't check. And someone, I don't think we have the time, Michael Hobbs is probably pretty good at this. Like, someone needs to just go through page by page and say, this stuff's real, this stuff's real. It doesn't say anything to do about this. It's just a general, this is like it's like something in middle school maybe that you would put together as like a general, let's look at American public health overall for the first time.
It's
Why
like
would
an
the government need
overview
to put this out?
Yeah, it's absurd. It's an overview of a summary. Like, if anything, it's such a, again, it's like very childish.
Yeah, it's not like a serious report. And I also just want to cite the group, the independent journalists that first discovered that these citations were fake. They're from Not Us. And it's Not Us is notable because when a person from Not Us asked Trump a question, he's like, I don't know what that is. I've never heard of you. And now they're like, well, we've heard of you and you're making shit up in your big fancy report. Like RFK Jr.'s never written so much as a book report, you know?
Yeah, no.
Almost
I mean,
certainly.
he has written books.
He's written.
I get it. Without the help of
But has he-
ChatGPT because the Fauci.
It wasn't around at that time.
Almost
Exactly.
certainly with the help of a ghostwriter, though.
Yeah, I wish this report had more phrases like, what a great question. I can provide that for
Yeah,
you. Or like a few of those missing. Yeah.
There's been a lot of other news this weekend.
Oh,
Lindsey
yeah.
Graham, fucking ghoul.
A senator, Ernst
fucking
said that we're all
ghoul.
going to
Senator
die.
Ernst.
Yeah, multiple Republican senators.
Yeah, Republican senators this weekend were like, let's just like talk about how everyone's going to die and maybe some people should.
And that it's okay that you're losing your health insurance because it's going to happen sooner or later, folks. Don't you want to have it happen sooner? It's expensive being alive. Just go ahead and die.
Hi, Senator. I have a question about my ability to keep going to the doctor and living. And then my senator responds,
People are not, well, we all are going to die. So, for heaven's sakes, folks. Okay, no, but...
well, this life is just kind of a prep for the next life, the more important one, and only some stuff we do here matters. And it doesn't seem like you're going to do the stuff that I think matters, so you don't matter. It
doesn't matter.
Like
And
not
Jonathan-
something you want to hear your senator say.
I never thought about it like that, though. Maybe we didn't need to hear that.
No, but you know what else people don't want to hear about, but they need to hear about? A little something about the tooth fairy.
And I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
I just wanted to point out we're sort of joking about these ghoulish figures and their funny jokes about everyone's going to die and how maybe it's good and how maybe they could help move it along a little faster. There are Medicaid cuts on the way. A lot of them, it seems like really bad, and they don't seem to be Republicans don't seem to care that people are upset about it, and they still want to do it. And even Mike Johnson's out there's like, yeah, I don't know, I don't even know, I haven't read the bill or whatever. I don't know what his excuse is today. It's bad, and you should talk about it and let people know. And I don't know, it just seems like a real bad thing they're gonna try to do, and it
does.
It's almost it's like a weird, even though it's exactly related. It's almost a weird distraction to be like, oh, look at her apology video and her like, oh my God, everyone's going to die. Yeah, but they're still going to do it.
Right. We're just, it's a distraction that we're putting all our energy onto that, but it doesn't matter. They're going forward.
They're still going to do it.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Get upset. We'll all forget about it another day when something terrible happens and that sucks up all the oxygen in the room. Anyway, on that note, we love you very much. Cha, 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 cha.
Much. Matcha. Matcha. Maha. Matcha. Much.